it's time to cancel all your plans because I have your next book obsession. I have a lot, and I mean a lot, of book recommendations that I would count as popcorn reads. These are the ones that I stayed up all night reading, that I couldn't stop reading. The way when you're at a movie theater and you have that buttery popcorn and you just can't stop eating it. These are your next obsessions, the ones that you're going to be telling everyone to read because you just had so much fun with them. I don't trust this pile. It's gonna fall. All of these are across genres, but ones that I was obsessed with, and we're gonna start with romantasy because of course that's my favorite genre. And the popcorn read of all popcorn reads is Direbound by Sable Sorensen, and this is the perfect time to read this book actually because Furybound comes out the end of this month, the beginning of next month. I literally sat on my couch and read this. Size does not matter when we're talking about popcorn reads. Might matter other times. Like, this is a chunky boy. It's 580 pages, but I literally couldn't stop reading this. In this, we're following our main character whose sister is taken and she wants to save her sister. The only way she knows how to do that is to join the military and go to the front lines and fight and find her sister and save her sister in enemy territory. However, the day she signs up for the military, there's something called the bonding trials, and this creates the most elite warriors in the society. You have to climb up a mountain and you have to bond a wolf or else you don't make it. And so she knows she has to accomplish that, and then we watch her train within the society with her wolf and in a pack. This is very much like Fourth Wing if Fourth Wing had wolves, but also very different from Fourth Wing. I just think the initial setup feels very Fourth Wing-esque, and also just like the pacing of this reminds me of Fourth Wing a lot, but the actual story itself doesn't. And we have the slowest burn of all slow burns in here, and I can't wait to get to book 2 for that slow burn. Like, I'm very much excited for book 2 and what that brings. I actually can't believe it's almost here. This is like such a ruthless society. It's so ruthless that if you show weakness, your own wolf will off you. So like, you have to be on your game. I loved seeing the training aspects, the different politics within this, and the discussion on like class, because essentially a lot of the people that end up being direbound are raised within families of other people being direbound, and not a lot of the outside lower class makes it, and our main character is from this lower class. So there is definitely a divide happening within the society and stuff as well. And I really liked the commentary in this. I loved this book. It was so fast paced. I remember sitting on my couch for just 8 hours, and like, I don't even think I ate dinner. I just like skipped it because like I couldn't stop reading. Another one that I read recently that I just like couldn't stop reading, literally all of these are books I couldn't stop reading, so I need to stop saying that, is We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. This one, if you're a fan of the Vampire Diaries, you are going to eat this up. This is a love triangle done right. The way that the love triangle in Vampire Diaries is everything I could have ever asked for. Like, I need more books written based on that love triangle because it's done so well. I will say I'm a Team Stefan girl, and I'm a Team Klaus girl at the end of it. Like, I just love Klaus. Klaus for everybody. Klaus is my lord and savior. But in the context of the love triangle, I'm Team Stefan because I love Stefan. And I know that's kind of a hot take. In this, we're following our main character whose brother is dying, and she'll do anything to save her brother. I apparently see a pattern here already. I love sibling motivation. I just relate so hard to it. And when a vampire has come and bought out all the medicine her brother needs, he offers her a deal. He will save her brother if she goes and competes in this trial and gets close enough to the king that she can kill the king. Dun dun dun. And of course, this is the death sentence, but she doesn't care. She wants to save her brother. She's gonna do anything that she can. She signs up to take part of this, and the reason they want her is because the fact that she has won a trial before. There are a couple things in this society, in this world building, that were really cool. There is a like trial that you can go to like win money when you're younger, and then if you win that, you have the chance to be part of like the Emperor's Guard by competing in more trials, and that's kind of like what she's competing in this one. However, when she is in this training academy, there is someone who seems to have it out for her just a little bit, and there's some backstory. There's also in this a second chance romance that happens within like flashbacks and stuff that I really enjoyed, and then there is also a love triangle. So we have 2 love interests, and to be honest, I loved both of them. I know who I think Endgame is, and I do love him. However, I also love the one that I don't think is Endgame, and I want it to be a why choose. Why can't every book be a why choose? Because I'm yearning for both of them. Like, I want both of them. I want the scenes with both of them. It's incredible. It's amazing. This was so much fun. I don't have a physical edition of this yet. It's at my parents' house being held hostage, but another recommendation is Half City by Kate Golden. Now, this was unputdownable. I loved this book, and if you were a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and if you were a fan of Winx Club, in my opinion, it's kind of like Buffy and Winx Club had a baby. We follow a main character who is a demon slayer. a little bit of Buffy inspo. And she lives in a city that is essentially the Hellmouth. Another little bit of Buffy inspo. You do not need to have watched Buffy to love this book. It's not like a fanfic or anything. I just can see the like comparison quite a bit. One day she finds out about a school academy that she never knew about for demon hunters. And she ends up going to this school and kind of just like learning that a lot of her life was a lie and that she didn't know all of these things. And at this school, she maybe falls in love with a demon. And there is a murder mystery that's happening because one of her friends that she makes in this like found family Scooby Gang-esque friendship goes missing / might be dead. And she has to figure out what is going on, what's happening. There's a mystery with her father. There's like a lot of moving parts in this that just made it unputdownable because I was really interested in seeing how it was all going to come together, the consequences of her actions and what things were going to work out for her and all these other things. And I just literally was obsessed with this and had so much fun reading it. And I think that you are going to be obsessed with it too. The second book comes out later this year and I can't wait to get to it. Like I just saw the cover reveal and I was like, oh my god, I need this now. How do I get this right now? You know? You feel that? That's how I feel about these books. So definitely pick this one up. The Waist Club inspo just kind of comes from like the school setting. You could also give it like a Zodiac Academy inspiration, but it really just reminded me of Winx Club, but so does Zodiac Academy. Another chunky boy is Reign of Shadows and Endings by Melissa K. Roeg. This one's chunky, but don't be scared of it because like I was so innately obsessed with this world building, the characters, the setup that like I couldn't put it down. I remember just like listening to the audiobook in my room doing nothing. Normally I have to like multitask when listening to an audiobook, but I was so locked into this that I was just sitting there, like sitting on my bed in pitch black, just listening and just like what the frick was going to happen. I was locked in on this. This is a dark fantasy romance, so definitely be prepared for that. It's also very complex if you like a more complex world building and if you're kind of itching to get a little bit more epic fantasy in your romantasy, this is going to be for you. We follow our main character who is part of the Fae, who's always been raised to know that if you are chosen by one of the legacy to be their source, this is a privilege. However, she doesn't really think this and she has done everything in her ability to never stand out enough to be chosen. But when she accidentally catches the eye of the ruthless, most deadly legacy, she is chosen. And what all of that means, we kind of have very much discussions on unraveling of privilege and entitlement and honestly consent and things like that. And this gets so deep, but it's so well done. Tessa may get on your nerves a little bit, but also like I get her. Like I get her. Like I am her and she is me because like I would also kind of be this way in this situation. And I love the men in this. I love the nuance. I love how like innately like detailed this world is and how I really feel like I could just step into it. This was so good and so many like twists and turns that I just like couldn't put it down. Technically a dystopian romance. We have To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. This I read on a plane ride, but I literally was speed reading because like I just needed to know what was happening. I needed to know what was going to go down and I needed to finish it before I got off the plane. So this was so much fun and I had so much fun with it and was like obsessed with it. This follows our main character who is a bounty hunter in a society. It's our society, I guess. It's our world just in a dystopian setting. Things have happened where every crime gets you the same punishment. You're sent to a prison. No matter if you murder someone, if it's just like a petty crime, whatever it is, you have the exact same punishment and you're sent to this prison where you are essentially made out to be a game. You can win your way up in this prison to get a higher price, but essentially people pay, the rich pay, to come hunt you. They have the ability to like hunt you down and murder you. And the more times you escape, the higher your price gets, but also like the more the rich might want to hunt you down. And there's nothing negative for them because you're not allowed to hurt them or anything. So it's just like a game for the rich to play. And our main character is a bounty hunter and she sends people to this prison. She only sends bad people though, you know? And she's doing it to protect her brother. Her brother is caught and sent to this prison and she says, I have to go and break him out. I told you, I have a type. I love things with sibling motivations. So she decides she has to go save her brother and break him out of this unbreakable prison. And we watch that happen and there is a guard romance in here. And I loved this. This was so unputdownable and I'm excited to see where book 2 takes me. It was just like a fast-paced ride in a very unique setting because it all takes place within the prison. A recent obsession of mine was Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. This one follows a world where there are 2 types of magic. There is the magic of the heart and the magic of the mind. And there's kind of like a divide between people who use it. They don't necessarily think that the mind people think the heart people are bad and the heart people think the mind people are bad and like they're wrong for how they use their magic. However, a treaty was made and they send their kids to school together to help with this treaty and create like long-lasting alliances. However, one side goes against the other and actually ends up taking over, and anyone on the mind side that survives is sold off to the heart side because the heart side is a little bit more not right. They believe that the mind people are just going to be used as a source of power because heart people can use other people as a source of power. However, the mind people think that this is wrong. We are in our main character who is one of the mind people who sold off, but she sold off to a person she knew in school, and we watch her kind of like fight for her freedom and fight for the freedom of the mind magic users within this. And there's like a lot of nuance to not everyone is bad and not everyone is good on either side, and there's just like so much in it. And I was just like very obsessed with the commentary on like the boys club in this, like really obsessed with that whole aspect. It is dark, like please check trigger warnings before you read this. It is so dark, but I found myself really being taken, like I had to keep reading because I needed to know what was happening to these men that I wanted to murder, and then I also needed to know what's happening within this romance that I was just yearning for. Like the yearning was so perfect with like flashbacks and stuff, and I really much think the commentary in this was very incredible with like an auction happening and stuff like that. So very much could see society going this way, which always makes it scary, but I also lived for the little moments of hope within this because I think that in a rebellion, that is what people like hold on to. It's just like the small moments of hope that get them to the end goal and take down the men, take down the system and murder it, like throw some gasoline on it and fire it up, you know? Let's move on to fantasy, and we're gonna start with a YA fantasy, City of Bones. I can't believe I just am reading this for the first time, but if you haven't read this yet, you should pick it up because this first book, and honestly the entire series, is so easy just to binge and get through so quickly. This follows the Shadowhunter world. This is like the first book in a whole like world. So the thing is, if you love this, there's so much more for you to binge within the entire series, and I have been binging it. We follow Clary, who one day accidentally sees these demons and these shadow hunters, and she's not supposed to see them, which then opens up a whole question of like why she can see them and what her mom has been lying to her about. However, her mom is taken away, so she cannot ask these questions and she just kind of has to figure out this world by herself. She finds some friends along the way and they help her out, and this is very much just like coming of age YA, but like also there's so much depth to this world and this world building and the plotting. Like there's so much well done that's plotted. It was such a fun time read and I really had a good time with this, and I think that a lot of people will feel the same way. It's just like really hard to like look away from like everything that's happening. A shocking one for me that I couldn't put down was Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This really grew on me. I will say probably for the first 50 to 100 pages, I probably could have put it down, but once I got past that, I was obsessed, and I think that this reads so quickly and so fun, and I kept wanting more from it. This is a very like humor, campy filled story. We follow a group of old men, essentially, who are reliving their glory days. They used to be one of the best bands of mercenaries. They're taking down all the demons and stuff, and now they're old, they have families, they've retired, but when one of their daughters ends up in a life or death situation across the continent, they get the band back together. The boys are back, and they, as these old men who back hurt and they like are out of shape, go across the land trying to rescue their daughter, and they have no business doing that. And the way like the luck plays into it, but also their like charisma and like their love of friendship and like the love of each other and the fact that they're willing to risk their lives for each other's like family and stuff, and like the dynamics they have now as they're older was really entertaining to watch, and I really enjoyed this. I did the audiobook and I highly recommend. It just made this so pleasant and such a book where I was like, I could read more. I could read 100, 200, 300 more pages of this just because it was just like so enjoyable to read. Similar with like the campy humor, we have Dungeon Crawler Carl. This is a series that I have been obsessed with. It's a long series and the books just get longer. They are so easy to read in one sitting. I pop in the audiobook. Highly recommend the audiobook. Like this audiobook is one of the best I've ever read from. Like it's stunning, incredible. The voice acting, it's just one guy. It sounds like it's a whole cast of actors. It's so good. It's just like this fast-paced, action-packed story with like a lot of humor and a lot of stuff going on, but there's also this overarching story of taking down the system and the corruption of capitalism and all of this stuff. There's talks on AI and stuff in this. This was so good. We follow our main character who, when the world is taken over by like an alien invasion, all of the world is smashed. If you were in a building, you died. However, if you were outside of of the building, you didn't die. And you were given the decision to either stay on land and take your chances in this desolate world with like no resources, or join the dungeons and become kind of like a video game player, but it's like your real life on the line. And so Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat Donut enter the dungeons together, and then we just get to watch them battle their way through the dungeons, but you also get to see like this really big overarching story. As I said, we're taking down a system. This is wrong. Like what they're doing is wrong. And we get to see how we are all like parts of the machine and all of that, and how we can do our part to like take things down and all of this other stuff. And it's really, really, really well done and a lot of fun. I don't know a single person who doesn't at least like this, but most people I recommend this to love it. Even my boyfriend, who doesn't read, is on book 3 of this. And that is impressive. Like he does not read, but I convinced him to take a chance, and now he is like, wow, this is fun. Like I will catch him just listening to his audiobook doing everyday tasks, which is so shocking. Another one I had a hard time looking away from is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This is a series that is still ongoing, and this is kind of a dystopian fantasy. We follow our main character, who is clairvoyant, in a world where clairvoyants are seen as bad and they are put in prison or murdered or whatever it is that they decide to do to them. They essentially have no rights. And our main character has worked her way up in an underground gang to be like one of the top people. However, that doesn't protect her when she uses her magic in the wrong place at the wrong time, and she is put under arrest and taken to a specific prison where she learns a lot about what's actually going on in the world, and she uses some of her connections within the story. This is a very much rebellion story. It really in a lot of ways reminds me of the Hunger Games, if the Hunger Games had some magic in it, and if we had a little bit of a darker character as the leader of the Hunger Games. There is a lot of conversations on power corrupting and stuff in this that I really did enjoy, but there is definitely some fantasy aspects in this, and I just like really enjoyed this story. And I think this first book specifically I really couldn't look away from. I've read the entire series up to date since then, and I loved that series and I marathoned it, and I think you will too. Like you're probably gonna take the next 5 days to read all of these. Okay, let's move on to romance. Really, I have authors here that I'm gonna tell you about. The first one is the Bourbon Boys series. I read this entire trilogy in a 48-hour readathon, just back to back to back, because I was so obsessed. This is a romantic suspense series following the Bourbon brothers. We start with Bourbon and Lies, and I will say the last one is my favorite. This is my second favorite, and the middle one is my third favorite, and they're still all incredible. And in this one, we follow two characters, the female love interest and the male love interest, and the female love interest has seen something, and she has testified against a killer, and she's put into witness protection program essentially, and she is sent to live on this farm with the Bourbon boys. However, the brothers have no idea why this woman is here. Their grandfather essentially is the one who has agreed to this girl being here and kept it a secret from all of them. And our main male love interest used to be a cop, and so he feels like something is up with her, and he's trying to get to her secret and trying to unravel what's actually going on with her, as they also have a lot of chemistry and stuff. And this was so much fun to read. I loved the romance in it. This series has some of the most unique smut in my opinion. The way it uses bourbon, because the Bourbon boys run a like bourbon making franchise, like a bourbon company. So they drink a lot of bourbon, they use a lot of bourbon in their smutty time, and they do a lot of other fun things with the bourbon as well. And I loved seeing the passion behind the bourbon as well. Like I loved seeing them run this company, and you got to see all these little aspects, and it really did work for me. And each of these stories follows one of the brothers and has a romantic suspense in it as well. So some sort of like a mystery thing that happened that we get to find out with the characters. Like we only know vague parts of each one at the beginning. And I had a heck of a hoot of a time with this. This was incredible, amazing. If I can recommend one romantic suspense, it's definitely the series. I love this. Listen, Julie Soto is just an auto by author for me, and I find her stuff just like unputdownable, because I also loved Not Another Love Song and Forget Me Not. This is part of the same series, but they're definitely standalone companion novels. You see characters in both of them, but you definitely don't have to read them in order. But I just like could not put these romances down. They have a lot to do with a regular job. So in Forget Me Not, she's a wedding planner and he's a florist, and then in Not Another Love Song, she is a violinist and he is a cellist. And we do have a lot about their jobs in this, which I think for me made these unputdownable, because I thought it was interesting to see not just the romance but also the other stuff going on, the other side characters, their like struggles in their jobs and all of this. I really did enjoy that. And then both of these romances are just so freaking good, and the tension in them is incredible. So I loved both of these, and I think that they are unputdownable. If you want a romance that you're just going to like eat up, these are it. Okay, let's move on to my horror thriller pile, and we may as well start with Julie Soto. She is queen. and I read The Thrashers by her, which is a YA mystery thriller that I literally just like loved so much. It took me a little bit to get into this one. I will say it did take me a little bit, but like once I was in, I was in. And I was supposed to be buddy reading it with a friend, and I flew way past her and finished it, and I was like, oh, so sorry, I'm already done. In this one, we follow a group of friends where there's this thing that they do called being thrashed. So they're kind of known as the Thrashers, and what happens is they become friends with someone, and then they just kind of like stop being that person's friend for some unknown reason, and the whole school says they're thrashed. They're like the popular kids, and then you're just dropped from them. So it definitely has a lot of like YA high school drama to it. So if you don't like that, you're not gonna like this, but I ate that up and thought it was incredible. It kind of gives me Pretty Little Liars vibes. In the start of this, we learn that a girl is thrashed and she takes her life. There are trigger warnings in this. Definitely check that out. And we have to learn why she did what she did, and if it was like an actual suicide or whether it was a murder. And we follow our main character who is figuring out all of this stuff, and there is a lot of stuff that goes on. I loved that this book had really true consequences, and I loved that I felt very relatable to the main character who was very insecure in her friendships. And I feel like anyone who's ever had a friendship group can really relate to this main character, especially in high school when like our hormones and kids are mean and all of this other stuff. I really did enjoy learning all the complex dynamics in this, and I feel like it really hit a friend group really, really well, especially with like outside stuff as well. And then yeah, I loved the consequences in this quite a bit, and I really, really did enjoy this, and I couldn't put it down because I was really intrigued by like what happened. I love like a murder mystery, and they always keep me turning the pages. We also have Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel. This is a cult story, and that is in itself something that I love and I literally couldn't put down. So in this, we follow our main character who escaped a cult when she was younger, and she has not seen her cousin in a very, very long time since they escaped this cult together. When her cousin just like re-shows up in her life, she's like brought back into this life, and they kind of like relive some of their past together, and like it triggers a lot of their memories and things like that, and stuff is going down. And I do not want to tell you much more than that because this was a twisty ride that I was on the edge of my seat for, and I just like couldn't look away. Incredible, amazing. Another horror that I think was really, really hard to look away from is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. I actually think that Rachel Harrison in general does this really, really well. Her books are just like twisty and turny with a lot of commentary in them as well, which always keeps me reading. There's just always something in every chapter that has hooked me, whether it's the characters doing something, a twist being revealed, the commentary on something. That is what really hooks me in a story like this, and also trying just to figure out what is going on. That is something for me that is so unputdownable and has me just like reaching back in that bag for popcorn. In this, we follow our main character who grew up in a haunted house, and when her mom passes away, the house goes to her and her siblings, and they're gonna sell it. But she's like, actually, I kind of need a project. I'm a little bit of an influencer. I'm gonna try remodeling this house and selling it and doing it all online as like a journey. And when she goes back to this house, she starts to trigger back memories and learn some stuff about the house. Like, was this actually what happened? What's going on? Why did her mother get rid of this house? Things like that. And it is just a metaphor for so much stuff. There's so much family drama in this. There's so much that revolved around like being the youngest sibling and stuff like that that I really did enjoy and relate to. And I just feel like this was so twisty, and really I was just like, I actually don't know what is happening and what is going to happen at the end of this. And that was like really, really amazing for me, and I just loved this quite a bit. I thought it was a really fun time, so you should definitely check it out. Okay, those are the stories that I think that you are going to be obsessed with. The thing is, I actually have a whole other video on my channel with 15 plus other recommendations. I did not repeat any recommendations in here. Unputdownable popcorn reads are my favorite type of read. They are the thing that gets 5 stars from me. The things that are just so good that I can't stop reading. My favorite way to read. So I'll leave that recommendation video on the screen for you. And then the other thing is, I have a readathon coming up called Pageathon, and one of the prompts for that is a popcorn read. So all of these will be incredible for you if you want to participate in Pageathon. And I'll leave that announcement video on the screen as well as in the description for you, because it is a page count 48-hour readathon where all your pages matter, not the amount of books you read. If you read 50 pages, you can submit that. And I think that that's amazing. So definitely check out the announcement down below for that. It is something very unique that I've never seen on YouTube before. It's kind of similar to a streamathon. Other than that, if you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me popcorn and let me know what your biggest recommendation for a popcorn read is down below, and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.